Alright. Hey everyone, it's UY and welcome back to the channel. Today, we're not just dipping our toes into the unknown, we're diving headfirst into places that have earned reputations for being, well, let's just say, less than welcoming to the living. We're talking about locations steeped in dark history, eyewitness accounts of the unexplainable, and an atmosphere so thick with dread you could cut it with a knife. Welcome to our countdown of the top 10 scariest places that will haunt your dreams. These are the spots whispered about in hushed tones, the destinations that paranormal investigators flock to, and frankly, the kind of places that make you question what really lurks in the shadows. Now, I've looked into a lot of creepy stuff, as you know, but this list is something else. We're going global, from haunted hotels that inspired horror masterpieces to islands populated by silent, watchful dolls. Each location has its own terrifying tale, its own unique brand of fear. So if you're easily spooked, maybe grab a blanket, turn on all the lights, heck, call a friend over, you might need it. Get ready to be spooked as we dive into some of the most terrifying experiences ever recorded, all tied to these specific chilling coordinates on our planet. We're going to explore the stories, the alleged phenomena, and the sheer, unadulterated creepiness that makes these places legendary. Are these hauntings real? Are they elaborate hoaxes, or simply the product of overactive imaginations fueled by grim history? That's what we're here to explore, or at least present the bone-chilling accounts and let you decide. So buckle up, because our journey into the heart of darkness to the world's most terrifying locales begins right now. Let's get into it. All right, kicking off our list is a place that's practically synonymous with paranormal activity, largely thanks to a certain horror novelist who had a rather unsettling stay here. I'm talking, of course, about the Stanley Hotel in Estes Park, Colorado. Now, this place isn't just famous for inspiring The Shining, it has its own spectral guest list that apparently never checked out. People talk about hearing phantom children playing in hallways that are completely empty, their laughter echoing when no one's around. Guests have reported their belongings being moved, lights flickering on and off with a mind of their own, and shadowy figures appearing in photographs. Room 217, where Stephen King stayed, is a major hotspot, but it's far from the only one. The original owners, Freelan Oscar Stanley and his wife Flora, are said to still wander the premises. F.O. is often seen in the lobby or the billiard room, sometimes even smelling of his favourite cherry pipe tobacco, while Flora is occasionally heard playing the antique Steinway piano in the music room, the melodies drifting through the hotel late at night. Then there's the concert hall, supposedly haunted by a former handyman named Paul, who enforced an old curfew. Staff and guests have reported feeling a sudden cold spot or hearing someone shush them when they're making too much noise there after hours. It's a place where the grandeur of the past meets the chilling presence of, well, something else entirely. Next up, we're heading across the pond to North London, to a seemingly ordinary council house that became the epicenter of one of the most documented and debated poltergeist cases in history, the Enfield poltergeist. This all started in 1977, primarily tormenting the Hodgson family, particularly young Janet. Now, we're not just talking about a few bumps in the night here, we're talking about furniture sliding across rooms on its own, objects flying through the air with violent force, and mysterious fires spontaneously erupting and then extinguishing themselves. It sounds like something straight out of a horror movie, but there were numerous witnesses, including police officers and journalists. The activity escalated to include strange knocking sounds coming from within the walls, and then, perhaps most disturbingly, a gruff, masculine voice that seemed to emanate from Janet herself, claiming to be a man named Bill Wilkins who had died in the house. There are actual recordings of this voice, and it's unsettling, to say the least. Investigators from the Society for Psychical Research, Maurice Gross and Guy Lyon Playfair, spent a significant amount of time in the house documenting these bizarre occurrences. While some skeptics claimed the children were faking it, the sheer intensity and variety of the phenomena, plus the corroborating accounts from outsiders, make this case a truly chilling one. Imagine living through that day in and day out. All right, number 3 on our list is a house whose very name has become shorthand for extreme paranormal terror, the Amityville house in Long Island, New York. The story of the Lutz family, who moved in just 13 months after Ronald DeFeo Jr. murdered 6 members of his family there, is legendary. George and Kathy Lutz, along with Kathy's 3 children, lasted only 28 days before fleeing in terror, claiming the house was possessed by demonic forces. Now, this is where things get really intense. They reported swarms of flies in winter, cold spots, strange odors, and unsettling sounds. George supposedly woke up every morning at 3:15 a.m., the approximate time of the DeFeo murders. Kathy reported levitating in her sleep, and the children experienced their own terrifying encounters. The youngest daughter, Missy, developed an imaginary friend named Jody, described as a demonic, pig-like creature with glowing red eyes who was supposedly seen by others as well. There were reports of green slime oozing from the walls, crucifixes turning upside down, and a hidden red room in the basement that had no earthly purpose. While the veracity of the Lutz's claims has been heavily debated for decades, with accusations of hoaxing, the sheer horror of their account, whether fact or fiction, has cemented Amityville as one of the most infamous haunted locations in the world. The debate itself almost adds to the mystery. For our 4th entry, we delve into one of America's most legendary and frankly most vicious hauntings, the Bell Witch of Adams, Tennessee. This isn't just some creaky floorboards and flickering lights kind of story. We're talking about a malevolent entity that physically and verbally tormented the Bell family, particularly John Bell Sr. and his youngest daughter Betsy, from 1817 to 1821. The entity, which eventually identified itself as Kate, would slap, pinch, pull hair, and even stick pins into Betsy. It would speak in various voices, sing hymns, quote scripture, and carry on intelligent conversations with the family and visitors. What makes the Bell Witch case so compelling and terrifying is the sheer number of witnesses outside the family who attested to the phenomena. People travelled from all over to experience Kate's antics, including, legend has it, future President Andrew Jackson, whose entourage was reportedly so spooked they fled the Bell farm. Kate's malevolence was particularly directed at John Bell Sr., whom she cursed and tormented relentlessly, vowing to kill him. And in a truly dark twist, John Bell Sr. did die under mysterious circumstances, with some believing Kate poisoned him. Even after his death, the entity continued to make its presence known, promising to return. It's a deeply unsettling tale of a seemingly intelligent and incredibly cruel unseen force. Coming in at number 5 is a place that's as architecturally bizarre as it is reportedly haunted. The Winchester Mystery House in San Jose, California. This sprawling, chaotic mansion was the lifelong project of Sarah Winchester, heiress to the Winchester rifle fortune. Following the deaths of her infant daughter and husband, a spiritualist supposedly told Sarah that she was cursed by the spirits of all those killed by Winchester rifles. The only way to appease them and prolong her own life was to continuously build and expand her home. And build she did for 38 years, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, until her death in 1922. The result is a sprawling labyrinth of over 160 rooms, with staircases that lead to ceilings, doors that open onto blank walls, or terrifying drops, secret passages, and countless oddities. The theory is that Sarah designed the house this way to confuse the vengeful spirits she believed were pursuing her. But it seems some spirits may have decided to stay. Visitors and staff report a plethora of paranormal activity. Disembodied footsteps, voices calling out from empty rooms, doors slamming shut on their own, cold spots, and even full-bodied apparitions. Sarah herself is said to still roam the halls, along with other spectral residents, perhaps lost in the very maze she created to elude them. It's a monument to grief, fear, and maybe, just maybe, the supernatural. For our 6th most terrifying place, we journey to the American South, to St. Francisville, Louisiana, home of the Myrtles Plantation. Often touted as one of America's most haunted homes, this antebellum plantation has a dark history and a long list of ghostly residents. The most famous, or infamous, is Chloe, an enslaved woman who, according to legend, was punished for eavesdropping by having her ear cut off. Seeking revenge, or perhaps to regain favour by nursing the family back to health, she allegedly baked a cake with poisonous oleander leaves, which tragically killed the plantation owner's wife and 2 daughters. Chloe was then supposedly lynched by other enslaved people. Her spirit, often seen wearing a green turban to cover her missing ear, is said to wander the grounds and the house. But Chloe is far from the only ghost here. There are tales of spectral children playing on the veranda, a ghostly soldier from the Civil War, and the spirit of William Winter, a former owner who was shot on the front porch and died trying to climb the stairs to his wife, his dying footsteps still occasionally heard. The plantation also features a haunted mirror that supposedly holds the trapped spirits of Sarah Woodruff and her children, with handprints and figures sometimes appearing within its glass. It's a place where the beauty of the Old South is overshadowed by tales of tragedy and restless spirits. All right, number 7 takes us to a place designed to inspire penitence through solitary confinement, but instead it seems to have cultivated generations of tormented spirits, the Eastern State Penitentiary in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. This place was revolutionary when it opened in 1829 with its imposing Gothic architecture and its system of strict isolation. The idea was that prisoners, left alone with their thoughts and a Bible, would become truly repentant. But, many historians argue this extreme solitude drove inmates mad. The prison operated for 142 years, housing infamous criminals like Al Capone, and its history is filled with stories of violence, suffering, and despair. Now, a crumbling atmospheric ruin, Eastern State is a paranormal investigator's dream, or nightmare. People report hearing disembodied whispers, chilling laughter, and agonizing wails echoing through the cell blocks. Shadowy figures are frequently seen darting down corridors or lurking in empty cells. Cell Block 12 is particularly notorious for shadowy figures and cackling, while Cell Block 4 is known for visions of ghostly faces. Some have even reported being touched or grabbed by unseen hands. Given the sheer amount of human misery concentrated within these walls for over a century, it's not hard to imagine why so many believe that some of its former inmates have never truly left. The very stones seem to cry out. For our 8th spooky destination, we leave dry land and head to the permanently docked ocean liner, the RMS Queen Mary, in Long Beach, California. This historic ship had a storied career, from luxury liner to World War II troop ship known as the Grey Ghost. But now it's renowned as one of the most haunted places in America, if not the world. With a history that includes wartime deaths, accidental drownings in its pools, and even a gruesome murder in one of its staterooms, the Queen Mary has accumulated a manifest of spectral passengers who refuse to disembark. Staff and visitors have reported a staggering array of paranormal phenomena. There's the ghost of a young sailor, often called Half-Hatch Harry, who was supposedly crushed to death by a watertight door in the engine room, Ducker 13, and his screams are sometimes heard. The first-class swimming pool is a major hotspot, with reports of ghostly women in vintage bathing suits, wet footprints appearing when the pool is dry, and the playful spirit of a little girl named Jackie. Stateroom B340 is so notoriously haunted it was closed to the public for years. We're talking about objects moving on their own, lights turning on and off, and distinct temperature drops. It's a floating city of ghosts, each with their own tragic tale. Number 9 brings us to Atchison, Kansas, and a small, unassuming house with a deeply unsettling reputation, the Sally House. This isn't your typical old, creaky, haunted mansion. It's a modest home that has been the site of some truly aggressive and terrifying paranormal activity, often attributed to the spirit of a young girl named Sally. The story goes that a doctor lived and practiced in the house in the early 1900s, and Sally was a young patient who died there during an emergency appendectomy that supposedly started before the anesthesia fully took effect. A truly horrifying thought. The most intense period of haunting occurred when Tony and Deborah Pickman lived there in the 1990s. They reported objects flying, furniture moving, and frequent spontaneous fires, but the activity seemed to target Tony specifically. He suffered from unexplained scratches, burns and bruises, often appearing in sets of 3, a pattern some associate with demonic activity. They also reported seeing full-bodied apparitions, including that of a young girl. Paranormal investigators who have visited the house have also reported being physically attacked, experiencing equipment malfunctions and capturing EVPs. The idea of a child's spirit being so malevolent is what makes the Sallie house particularly disturbing. And finally, our number 10, the one that might just give you nightmares for weeks, is La Isla de las Muñecas, or the Island of the Dolls, located in the canals of Xochimilco, near Mexico City. This place is pure, unadulterated nightmare fuel. The island is covered, and I mean covered, with hundreds, possibly thousands of dolls. Old, decaying, often mutilated dolls, hanging from trees, nailed to fences, their vacant eyes following you wherever you go. The story behind this chilling display is almost as creepy as the island itself. Don Julian Santana Barrera, the island's former caretaker, supposedly found the body of a drowned girl in a nearby canal. Shortly after, he found a doll floating in the same spot, which he hung from a tree as a sign of respect, or perhaps to appease her spirit. Over the next 50 years, he continued to collect and hang dolls he found in the trash, or traded for produce, believing they were possessed by the spirits of deceased children, or that they kept the drowned girl's spirit company and protected the island from further evil. Locals say the dolls whisper to each other, move their heads and limbs, and even open their eyes. Don Julian himself drowned in 2001, reportedly in the same spot where he found the girl. Whether it's truly haunted or just profoundly unsettling, this island of silent, staring dolls is undeniably one of the creepiest places on Earth. And there you have it, our descent into 10 of the most terrifying places our world has to offer. From phantom-filled hotels and poltergeist-plagued houses to an island that's literally a doll graveyard, these locations are steeped in stories that curdle the blood and make you question the veil between our world and, well, whatever lies beyond. We've journeyed through tales of vengeful spirits, tragic accidents and human suffering so profound it seems to have permanently scarred these locations. It's a stark reminder that some places hold on to their history, their pain, a little tighter than others. Now, whether you believe these accounts are genuine evidence of the paranormal or simply the product of folklore and fear, there's no denying the powerful impact these stories and places have on us. They tap into something primal, that little voice in the back of your head that wonders, what if? Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this countdown, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more spine-chilling content. We've got a lot more darkness to explore, and trust me, you won't want to miss it. Before you go, I'm genuinely curious. Let us know in the comments which scary place from our list gave you the most chills, or if there's another terrifying location you think we should investigate next. Do you have your own unexplained experiences from a supposedly haunted place? Share your stories if you dare. Until next time, try not to think too much about what might be lurking in the shadows. Sleep tight.